The next evening he pretended to fall asleep while his bride rocked and sang in her chair. Then he followed her up to the attic and watched through the crack in the open door as she sat down on the spinning wheel and spun off her skin, leaving only pulsing red muscles and blue veins. She was a terrifying sight, and she sprang through the window and flew away into the night. Bobby ran out to the privy and was sick after he saw her. What was this monster he had married? He was still trembling and in shock when his bride, looking like a normal person again, crept into bed at dawn, and he had trouble behaving normally at breakfast. As soon as he could get away, Bobby ran to the home of the conjure woman and told her about the spinning wheel and the terrible skinless creature who flew away from his attic. "A boo-hag," the conjure woman said at once. "You've married a boo-hag." "What's a boo-hag?" asked Bobby. "A boo-hag is a witch and a shapeshifter," said the conjure woman. "She lures men into her trap and then delivers them to her boo-daddy, who eats their flesh and gnaws their bones. And that's what she'll do to you if you don't get rid of her first." The conjure woman told Bobby to get himself some blue paint. As soon as the boo-hag left the house that night, he was to spread blue paint on every window frame and every door frame and make sure it was 2 coats thick. A boo-hag couldn't fly through a window or a door that was painted blue, and if she didn't get back into her skin before dawn, she would be trapped without it and revealed for the monster she was. So he was to leave one tiny window unpainted and keep it open a sliver so the boo-hag could squeeze through. Then he was to fill up her skin with salt and pepper, which would burn her up from the inside out. And Bobby promised to do exactly as the conjure woman said. That night, Bobby lingered over his dinner, looking with sad eyes at the pretty woman sitting opposite him. He knew she was really a monster inside, but it was so nice to have a little wife in his home. He hated like anything to see her go, but he didn't want to get eaten by a boo-daddy, and that was his fate if he stayed. So he went up to their bedroom, pretended to fall asleep while she rocked and sang and knitted. Then he followed her quietly upstairs and put salt and pepper into her skin after her ugly red muscle blue vein figure had flown out the window to her boo-daddy. He spent the rest of the night painting over every door and window frame and blue paint, leaving only one small unpainted window open in the cellar. He nailed it up so that it would open no further than a crack, just as the conjure woman had instructed him. Then he hid himself behind a large chest of drawers up in the attic to wait for his boo-hag. Just before dawn, the boo-hag came flying up to the attic window. As soon as she touched the blue frame, she gave a shriek of pain and rage. Bobby listened as she flew around the house, testing each window and door and howling like a banshee when it burned her skinless hands. Then she found the little window in the cellar, and he heard the thump as she landed beside it, followed by a painful whimpering sound as she squeezed herself through the narrow opening, her skinless red muscles and blue veins tearing apart against the rough wood. The boo-hag ran up 3 flights of stairs into the attic and squeezed into her skin as fast as she could. She just barely got into it when the first light of dawn shone over the horizon, and that was when the salt and pepper did their work, burning the boo-hag's body from the inside out. With a scream of agony, she flung herself out of the attic window. The glass shattered everywhere as she tried to fly away, tearing at the skin to get it off. But it was too late. She exploded into tiny pieces right over the swamp, and the alligators had them a mighty feast of cooked boo-hag for breakfast that morning. So Bobby was once again without a wife, but bachelorhood looked much better to him after that, and he never went looking for a wife again. Of course, after he made a pile of money and oil, the girls started chasing him around. But that's another story.